Welcome back to Norm Nathan's Vault of Silliness, and thanks just so darn much for being here. If you could take a moment to hit that thumbs up like button, it would greatly help with our friend Al Go Rhythm. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We've gained a few over the past few weeks. I would be just so honored to get to double what we have now. A bit of a tall order, maybe, but with the help of all you kids in the teen canteen, we can do it. Lastly, check out the links in the show description for some ways to support the efforts here in the vault. Today's feature presentation is a Norm Nathan show from August 6th, 1996, which I have titled Heavy Traffic. It begins with Norm, Mike Epstein, and Jack Harte having a loverly chat about traffic, news, and the internet. The World Wide Web discussion returns later with gusto. Callers featured throughout: John in Cleveland, Rita from Quincy, Jeff, Al in Waltham, Jill with Jack talking about voice work and getting the traffic gig, and Suzanne. We get the latest news on what I will call the Goose Poop Story, and then there's a section that will bring you back to the AM radio days as the tone is set with the reception quality. And maybe, best of all, is that return to the talk of the internet, which at the time was essentially in its infancy. A very telling conversation considering where we are now. It does get clipped, but is totally worth the listen. Episode 247, Heavy Traffic, jams its way to your ears in 3, 2, and 1.
However much time you've wasted just sitting there typing away, it's a rather odd kind of existence.
I've noticed too, Mike.
Yeah.
After you've gone through the ABC, CBS, and whatever else, and the CNN and Reuters and all, I've often asked you a question about world news, and you've gone, so I just wonder how much you're getting out of this.
But I think that was a genetic defect. I think we can blame my ancestors for that. I think through the years I've noticed I'm a slack-jawed guy and I walk scooped over.
That's right. That's why I'm fat. It's not my fault. It's the genes from my stupid family. Fat for generations. I didn't know how to escape it. It's not my fault. It's their fault.
We send traffic information down on the internet. A handful of times a night, I'm typing in traffic information on the internet. My sister in California can punch this up, and she can find out exactly where those work crews are on Route 3 southbound.
Well, there's that other traffic service here in the city that I guess is a competitor of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a little system of their own on this service that I'm on, and they have a little place for you to post your comments. So what did I do? I went on there and I said, this is all horse hockey. They don't know what they're talking about. If you want to really get the information, listen to Metro, get your information from them. And boy, did I get mail sent to me, I got to tell you.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Why do people need this in their homes? Why do people need traffic information in their homes?
Well, I don't know about you, but when I'm sitting at home in front of my computer, I want to know what's going on in the South Station Tunnel. I got to know right then and there.
I think there's some direct relationship between this and people who have ham radios, in a way. Because I remember sitting with a friend of mine that, hello, this is W10MP, W1 Old Man's Paradise, scanning the dial for YLs, and on CQ.
That's exactly what it is.
Then somebody would come in and they talk a little bit. And then the guy who owned the set, or maybe on both sides, who were both ham operators, they would go down to Radio Shack or wherever you get this junk, and they would spend $273 million more so they could say these same inanities to somebody 10 miles further away. And you wonder, why are they doing that?
The one thing that I'll leave you with is that I'm finding that for the internet as a whole, for the various chat rooms you can have, because there are different services on the internet that by which you can talk to people, like you say, down the street or around the planet. I think what this is becoming is...
What about going and sitting in their living room and having a cup of Joe?
That's a great thing, but you can't do it with 23 people in a chat room at the same time from like Tuscaloosa or from Los Angeles or whatever, and that's the appeal to some of these people. And what I think it's become and what it's degenerating into, maybe this is what it was meant to be, one big chat line.
Yeah, because I can understand using it to look up stuff. from the resource and the references and all that would make sense. But just to sit around and type out messages to
and
somebody.
that's the thing. That's what it's becoming, and that's what so many people I know, friends of mine, they have computers, and they don't know how to do anything on it except for chatting. Excuse me. They don't know how to look up anything that they can't use their World Wide Web search engine, whatever one they happen to have, to look up something. But they can chat, and they do. And they're probably very lonely, and they just sit there eating their bonbons and having their saturated fat popcorn and their milkshakes from Friendlies or whatever. And that's all they do.
You see, I predict in 50 years, the only people who will actually be working are the people who make and deliver food. We'll all have just a little 10 by 10 cubbyhole with a computer and a chair, and that's all we'll have, and we'll just sit there pumping in information, talking to people. We'll have a hookup so we can be diagnosed by way of the computer, and they'll have the robotic hands that will do operations on us right in our little 10 by 10 cubbyhole. And that's it. We'll never have to leave. We'll atrophy into nothing.
And isn't that a lovely prediction of the future? That's exactly what it's
we'll just be heads on a plate with arms coming out from our ears. And that's it.
Listen, do you mind if I get rid of both of you guys? I'm really getting sick to death of both of you right now. And we want to take some calls and give somebody else a chance, somebody who's dragged themselves away from their computers. Hey, I'll talk to you after 3, big guy.
You betcha.
It's another big night of the dumb birthday game.
Woohoo!
Phrase lead pipe cinch came from.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know the part of the saddle she's talking about, the thing that goes around the belly of the horse.
Yeah.
You tighten that up to keep the saddle on, so that when you're climbing on, the whole saddle doesn't slide down off the horse. But we don't call it a cinch here. We there was some other name for it. And I can't, maybe it's a belly band. It's not called that either. I just can't think of the name of that. But anyway, I understood that. But she mentioned that a few times in the book, and I couldn't figure out what she was talking about. But I thought she was quite interesting. Did you?
Oh, I love that interview. It was really interesting.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
And another thing, besides cowboys, a lot of the Indians who had been in some of the wars made it out to Hollywood and got jobs in the early silence.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember reading in the biography of one of the cowboys that they used to pop the rubber tips off the arrows during the big battle scenes just for a little revenge against the cowboys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they mean they were playing for real?
No, they wouldn't get hurt because it would just the wooden shaft, but it would sting a little bit. But they had, a lot of them made it out. Wyatt Earp died in Los Angeles in 1929. He was a consultant on some of the westerns.
Oh, yeah. That must have been a very interesting period. There have been different theories as to why the motion picture industry moved out to Hollywood, Southern California. Well, the weather was one part of it, but another reason that I've read a few times, and on some documentary about that, it mentioned also that they'd be close to the Mexican border because every now and then they'd be sued or they'd run into some kind of a legal problem and they could just cross the border. And that would be protected. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but I think that was part of it also, in addition to the weather, because they could have gone to Florida or other parts of the country where the weather is fairly decent.
Well, I know another reason was that they had almost every type of environment out in California. If they needed a woods or a jungle scene, they can just go right up north, something like that.
That's true. They have mountains and snow and all that kind of stuff in various parts of California.
Yeah.
And Hollywood itself, of course, as you're right, the weather is pretty much, pretty decent year round. But there was that Mexican thing too, crossing the line into Mexico for some reason to escape some kind of legal action. How about them apples, Big John? How are things out in Cleveland these days? Anything you want to report on the Rock and Roll Museum or anything?
They just opened up another tourist trap next to the Rock and Roll Hall. It's the Science Museum and Inventors Hall. So
yeah, does that look like it's fun?
It looks like it's nice, but I wouldn't go there.
Okay.
$15 to park.
Really?
That's what they're gouging you.
Oh yeah. I think the people who in earlier decades or earlier centuries would have been pirates have now turned to opening parking lots. I think
Parking lots and running city governments.
Well, okay, we're going.
Councilmen.
Okay, you are a bitter person, John.
They just spent. I'll just tell you, Norm. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is on a street called East 9th Street. It's about 20 blocks, not even, from the heart of downtown. So they spent $64 million to build a railroad that's not even an eighth of a mile long to take people from the Rock Hall to downtown for the parking and shopping district.
Oh, really?
$64 million that they could have used for the school.
Yeah, well, that seemed like an awful lot of money. Anyway, I'm glad to talk with you, John. You're
You too,
always
Norm.
a pleasure. Take care of yourself.
You too.
Yeah, bye now. Okay, let's go to Rita in Quincy. Hello, Rita.
Hi, my number one guy.
Thank you very much. You're my number one lady.
I was wondering, Norm,
Yeah.
have you read the Herald today?
No, I have not. I have not. It's still sitting in my car, but I have not read it.
You haven't read the part about Jerry Williams being inducted in the Hall of Fame?
No, what Hall of Fame is that?
It's the Hall of Fame of rock and roll and disc jockeys. And,
In the one in Cleveland?
yeah, the one in Illinois and the one in Cleveland. But did they make a mistake? Because I think you should have been there, babe.
Nobody's even suggested me, but you're nice to say
No,
that.
I mean that. I think you're right up there.
I appreciate that. No, I have not even been approached on that. But as long as I have you, Rita, what the heck do I care about those kind of
right.
things?
As long as I have you, Norm, I'm all set. You sound good tonight.
Hey, thank you very much, Rita. I feel very good tonight, and I hope you do too.
I do, and it's nice talking to you, but I just want to know if you saw that.
No, I didn't. I will see it, though, because sometimes it takes me a day or two to get caught up on stuff, but I generally read it.
Yeah. My opinion, Norm, is a little different than what they put in the paper. I think they should just call you up and put you in there.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, honey.
Take care, dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. She called me honey. Did you hear that? She called these towns that have lakes right in the middle of their towns. But anyway, since 1991, officials have tried to keep the lake clean, but a flock of geese have been messing up their efforts, you know. They've been using that. Well, let's put it right out there on the board there. They've been kind of using it as a toilet. So the recreation department has hired a 1.5-year-old Mastiff dog, which is a good-sized dog, named Murphy. And for 2 hours before the lake opens each morning, it's kind of funny to think of a lake being closed, but I guess they must have a fence around it or something. It's 353 acres. It's a good-sized lake. And for 2 hours before they open it, I guess, to the public, recreation staffers, Nick Bertazzi of Foxborough, not staffers, but staffer, Nick Bertazzi, 16, of Foxborough, watches his dog bound up and down the beach. And the idea of that is Murphy, this Mastiff, scares the geese off, so they don't do their little duties there in the lake. When the geese see her coming, he says, they scatter. People are afraid of her too, but he says she's a very friendly dog. Although the town does not allow residents to bring their pets to the beach, Recreation Director Dave Clifton says that Murphy is an exception because she's an employee. that's kind of funny. They don't pay the dog a salary, but she does get a bone out of it. After Murphy makes her rounds each morning, the geese flee and the area is cleaned of any droppings. Do you find this an interesting story, or am I just pushing this a little too much? I tell you what I'll do. I'll just rip it up so it doesn't fall into anybody else's hands, and so you won't have to hear the same story later on. Sometimes on the news during the day, you'll hear one of our news people say, now on the lighter side of the news or something, and do a funny story. We'll make sure it isn't that one. Thank you so much.
You know, most people southbound in Braintree, we do have a work crew. They'll be doing what they do, until about 5 a.m. Northbound and southbound Route 93 at East Milton Square, continuing construction. To the north of the city, work crews Route 93 northbound and southbound in Medford. Yes, those work crews continue. Callahan Tunnel remains shut down till 5:30. Two-way traffic in the Sumner Tunnel being used as an alternate route. And the Mass Pike eastbound and westbound in the Prudential Tunnel, eastbound and westbound in Newton, eastbound and westbound in Natick. More work crews. Those work crews in Newton have their lights pretty much aimed at the eastbound driver's windshield. Be best to drive through there with a clean one. I'm Jack Harte, WBZ 24-hour Traffic Network. Any card can fill up your tank, but the Gulf MasterCard from Fleet can also fill up your wallet. To apply, call 1-800-FOR-GULF.
Girth?
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly, Jeff. It is called a girth.
Right.
It's awful. I just couldn't think of that. And when the woman I was talking to referred to them as cinches, and she mentions that in her book, I couldn't imagine what is a cinch, but a girth. Yeah, I understand a girth.
Right, that's what it was. That's
Same
what I
thing.
was told. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Because as I told her, I have a horse, but and you know, in order to fasten the saddle on tight,
Right.
you do that. Sometimes what happens is a horse will loosen up, that is, kind of expand her belly.
They like suck in or.
Well, sometimes sucking in wouldn't be bad. Then you could tighten it up. But sometimes they suck out, or, you know, they just let it flow out.
Yeah,
And
they swell up. Yeah.
and then they suck in after you've got the girth tied.
Yeah.
So when you get up to go on the saddle, you put your foot in the anyway, to hoist yourself up, and the whole saddle falls off.
Swing right around, right?
Yeah, that's it. You sound like you're a horse rider.
I've had 2 summers experience. That's it.
Well, that's okay. You know all the basic stuff.
I'm
Did
getting
you?
the basic terminology down?
Okay, you did that very well.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. Girth was the word I was looking for, and I thank you very much for passing that along.
You're welcome.
Take care, Jeff.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. That's right. It's called a girth, and I, as a Wild West rider, I should have known that. I just couldn't think of a name. Al in Waltham. Hello, Al. You're on WBZ.
Hi, Norman.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay, Big Al. Hope you're doing okay, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know what the cinch is?
Yes?
It's the buckles at the bottom of the straps that go around the girth, and you pull up on them. That's what the cinch is. It holds the saddle on.
So a girth is different than a girth. A cinch is different than a girth.
Oh, yeah. The girth is the straps that hang down that go under the belly, and you pull this strap through those 2 loops.
Okay, so the girth is actually a cinch is part of the girth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know it. I didn't realize that 2 different names.
Yeah, they do kind of expand as the horse breathes.
Yeah. Hey, what do you
Belly gets kind of heavy.
Yeah. Well, what are you watching? Something on television? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, and I can't turn it off. My doggone handheld remote control isn't working.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and it drives me bananas.
I mean, can't you go up to the set and just?
Oh yeah, I got an on and off button at the set, but you know.
But we've all gotten so comfortable just sitting around and using our little remote thing there,
right.
that standing up and going over to the set becomes a chore, right?
Oh yeah, if you didn't have the remote, you'd be out of business. You know.
What are you watching? What is that we're hearing?
It's the 11 o'clock news.
Oh,
but it comes back on again, a repeat at 2 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's not really that loud right now.
Yeah, it's really coming across pretty good.
So is it?
We can almost follow the whole news just from your television set.
I pressed my increased volume, and it just kept raising up by itself. Then I hit the lower, and it went down and just kept going down until it went completely off. So it's not working right.
Just send it in to Mike Epstein here, WBZ. He'll fix it for you and charge you very reasonable rates.
Oh yeah? Do you mean the remote?
The remote, he has to have the whole television set, and part of the room that it's in.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm making that up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the information, Al. I
Okay.
appreciate that. Take care.
You're welcome.
Okay, we should have stayed tuned. We could have found out what the news is, eh? I think that's the Channel 4 news is on. Isn't that repeated now? WBZ TV? Okay, a lot of open lines at WBZ Radio. 254.
Get more voice work doing commercials and industrials and voiceovers and such. And I just kind of sort of sent one to Metro Traffic, and I had taken a class a couple of years earlier with Joe Stapleton, who at the time was the assistant operations director here. And he called me up and said, well, you want to try out for weekends and such? And I thought, well, it's not exactly commercials for zillions and zillions of dollars, but why not? And 111 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, because that's what I was curious about. It's like, what comes first, the broadcasting or the traffic interest? And you have a great voice, so it seemed like you should be in broadcasting.
Yeah, I wasn't really initially interested in traffic reporting. The fact of the matter is, I was a chauffeur for a family. I was a chauffeur in the city government a few years earlier.
Did you have a uniform and everything with a little cap?
Well, no, just a blazer and tie kind of a thing, and inconspicuous. And the thing of it is, you know what I hate to do most?
Drive.
Yeah.
I moving here from Maine, I'm so proud of myself every time I can make it through the city and not get honked at more than 3 times.
Well, Jack, for a guy who hates to drive, has moved out to the north central part of the state, so you have a long drive back in.
Well, that's not so bad because there's nobody on the roads then. It's just a straight road, you know, you sort of get on it and you're out amongst the lonesome pine. But to like drive into the city and such like that, or just drive around and doing short stops, getting in and out of a car and such, it just drives me mad.
It's kind of funny. As you get older, too, driving at night becomes a problem. That reminds me of a joke. May I tell you guys a joke? You, Jill, and you, Jack?
Please.
Yeah. Okay, this guy says he's announced his marriage. This is an old guy. He's announced his marriage to this woman, and his friend says, that's kind of interesting. You'd be married at this age. Is she very attractive? And he said, no. Do you know this joke, Jack?
Offhand, no, not yet.
Okay. He said, no, she's not. In fact, she's kind of ugly, to tell you the truth. Well, she must be very bright. Is she? She's a very smart woman? No, she's, matter of fact, kind of stupid. Well, you're marrying her because she has lots of money? No, as a matter of fact, she doesn't have any money at all. Well, why are you marrying her? Well, because she likes to drive at night. You know, that's one of the silly jokes, but I thought it kind of,
Tied in.
Yeah.
And then I understand the next question that he asked him, so what about sex? Aren't you worried about death? If she dies, she dies.
That's a whole other joke.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, any further questions you have, Jill? Did you want to make a career of broadcasting traffic? Is that what you're looking up to?
No, I'm always curious about other people's jobs. I want to know, what's going on.
Yeah, it wasn't so much traffic that I was interested in.
Well, I can't imagine anyone being interested in traffic, to be perfectly frank.
Jill, stop that.
Well, there are some people who make a whole career out of just studying traffic patterns.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Out in Seattle, that was a big project out there to build all the new roads and things.
It's a big project here. People who are dealing with this big dig situation. There are engineers who studied years just to figure out traffic patterns. Mine.
That's right. You know what I've always been intrigued by is people who put up traffic lights. Like in an intersection where there are about four roads that are, and there are right arrows and left arrows and lights going on and off. I never understood how they could time that, how they figured it, and especially in a very busy area where there was another set of traffic lights maybe a half mile down the road, and all of these things have to be coordinated.
Yeah, traffic in and of itself is a whole science that people spend years studying.
The thing that I found interesting moving to Massachusetts was, Massachusetts drivers always have such a bad reputation for driving, but I don't think it's their fault. I think that in Massachusetts, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, is the signage and the lighting is a lot different than what I'm used to. And I think you're forced to become a bad driver, otherwise you're going to be stuck in intersections all the time.
Yes.
So I find you can't do a lot of right on reds, or they don't give you a lot of green arrows at four-way, stop signs so you can cross in front of the traffic. I mean, you're forced to cut in front of people. And I'm like, the Massachusetts drivers have a bad rep. It's just because that there's poor, and then there's poor signage. I don't understand the signage in this
I got to tell
city
you
either.
the truth. As someone who lived in Boston and for most of my life and has moved out of Boston and then occasionally come into Boston and drive around, I found that it is not all of the Commonwealth that can be so finger pointed at.
Right.
It's just when you get into the city, we have cow paths. We don't have logically laid out roads. We have cow paths, and just to get anywhere, you just have to cut people off and curse and swear and shake your fist a lot, because that's how you're going to get to your destination.
You learn that at auto driving schools.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We had a whole class in just city driving.
Swinging fists and yelling at people. Yeah,
Sure. Mr. Magoo came in handy when I learned to drive.
One of the problems too is you're approaching you're coming down a main highway, and there's another road that's leading into it that has a yield sign on it. It doesn't have a stop sign. Yield. Nobody ever yields.
No.
They just don't yield.
Well, people don't know what yield means. They say it in the back of a box of cookies. Yield 3 dozen.
Good one, Jack.
We're coming into an intersection. We're getting cookies.
No, but there are a couple of places that I hit. One is on Sturo Drive, when you're coming up west, and you're passing Kenmore Square.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to pull over to the left, because there's a road that's joining Sturo Drive at that point, which has a yield sign, and nobody's yielding. They're just coming up full blast at you. And if you're in the right-hand lane, they'll run right into you. So you have to pull over to the left. There are a number of areas like that. Or even if you're coming down a major highway like Route 1, which is where I come in from the north, people coming from side roads will come out, and they won't even gently. Some of them won't even gently move out to the main lanes, the middle lane or the right lane, but they'll come right out there in front of you. Mm-hmm. And you're within 20 feet of them. It's like you're not even there.
Another thing I don't understand.
I'm complaining, Jill. I don't want to hear what you don't understand.
Oh, all right.
Just let me bitch a whole lot about it.
Oh my goodness, Grandpa Norm.
Okay, I'm through. I'm through now. I've done that. I feel better.
Okay, it's true. There's a lot of insane drivers out there. I always love the drivers who have to pull out in front of you, even though there's no other cars behind you. And then once they pull out in front of you, they only can go 10 miles per hour.
Well, that happens a whole lot too. That's true. But by the same token, it's kind of hard to get on a major road from a side road during a heavy traffic period. You almost have to aggravate somebody, otherwise you're going to stay on the side road forever, and you're never going to get out. And so I'm looking at it from both sides because I happen to be a geek.
Do you know that the man who invented not only rotaries but traffic signals, stop and go signals and such, never drove?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Never drove a vehicle.
That's like the guy who wrote "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Never saw a baseball game.
Is that
that's
right?
true. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
But he did buy lots of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. And he didn't care when he got back, but it was not from a baseball game. And I'm not going to tell you where it was, because he didn't yield.
But traffic should be a Zen-like thing, whereby you are traveling along, absorbing the wonders of the world and learning peace and harmony.
Yeah.
I remember that class. I do in driver's ed. I do.
Yes.
It's Zen.
Yeah. Jill, I want to say on behalf of all of us here at WBZ and to the Republic for which it stands, thank you very much for the call, and I hope you've just got your belly full of traffic information.
Oh, yeah. Grandpa Norm, is there any space left on the dumb birthday?
I'm going to turn you over to the very lovely and exciting Mike Epstein. He is in charge of that, and I delegate all that authority to him.
Oh, you're a very good manager.
Okay, take care. Oh, I hung up on her. Oh, is she still there? We miss her? Oh, call back, Jill. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to clip you off. I just don't know. I just have a fast thumb, which many people, including the very lovely Marilyn Gorelnik, were only too quick to tell you about.
Norm with the fast thumbs.
Yeah.
Hey, you've been elevated from Uncle Norm to Grandpa Norm.
I know it. I don't want to tell that to Jill, but I hate that designation because she's probably about the same age as my daughters. Why can't I just be the father? Why do I have to be the grandfather?
Or at least just the uncle.
Yeah, I'm still trying to make it with women. And if I have women calling me grandfather, how do you think I'm going to score? And I taught my kids, if they're listening now, saying, oh, Dad, you hear that, Dad?
Well, you know, that's a way to pick up women. You know, you can carry pictures of cute children in the wallet, even if they came with the wallet, and, you know, show them in parks and stuff, you know?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I could carry little kids with me. You know, like people who walk dogs.
Yeah.
People who are cute dogs, and that's kind of the way to... It's an icebreaker.
Yeah, you could have a service. People could leave their children home when they went on vacation. You could go there, put down a bowl of water and some kibble, and you could walk them.
Are we getting silly, do you think? I think we are, yeah. Hey, listen, can I talk to you in about a half an hour?
You sure can.
You're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wasn't sure whether we have to call you to alert you, but you were listening.
Yeah.
Would you like the Olympics here so that we give you and traffic people something to talk about during the night, especially when nothing much is going on?
You know, I think that at that point in time, there really wouldn't be much to talk about anyway. It would just be a matter of we've got confusion to the left, we've got confusion to the right, we've got confusion wherever we look, so everybody go home. And put your feet up. Which I would just say that for hours and hours and hours on end. It'd be more mind-numbing than the work crew out on Route 93 in Medford.
That's right, too. Because right now you're having just such a great deal of fun, or at least it's a good backup, those work crews. What if they took away the work crews? What then would you talk about?
Oh, we'd talk about the traffic for tomorrow. We'd talk about the traffic that could be, the traffic that happened yesterday. We'd do like weathermen do. You'd say, well, let me see, the weekend's coming up. We could get a substantial amount of traffic in around the Cape of Cod, although we may get more traffic to the north of the city. You see, we would just do it like that. We'd make it up as we went.
As a matter of fact, we could have a 24-hour-a-day traffic station.
Yeah. And you could just sort of tune in, and all day long, you just get one long monotone of one person. On the expressway heading northbound, we do have a worker just by 8 Mills.
Well, even then, you would sum up what the traffic was like this past day, what you expected it to be like, as you mentioned, during the coming day, and then give an update of what's happening right at the moment. I thought, for example, there are all kinds of specialized stations we could have on the air. How about one for just the time?
Just the time.
Just the time. Like, for example, right now it's coming up to 1:26 in Boston. That means that it's, let me see, it'd be 6:26 in England. You could make predictions.
Over in Bangkok, earlier today we did have a 2:37, and that was a lovely time of day. And at the same time, it was 4:32 in Indiana.
That's right. Right now, it'll soon be, we predict it'll soon be let me see, it'll be 6:26 in Rome. And right now, there's a time wave coming in from the West Coast. Or something. I think you go forever just with the time. Just give it to a guy named Johnny. I'm Johnny Minute with the time, and he could give a preview. What's happened before time? What's coming up? What's doing now? If they could do weather 24 hours, would you ever believe there'd be a 24-hour-a-day weather channel?
24-hour day. Well, it's actually kind of interesting. Of course, you do get, somebody talking for a long time about what's going on the West Coast and the clouds that are coming over, and then they're moving slightly. They're halfway across now they're in Nevada. They're in Nevada now. They're working their way.
You're coming dangerously close to doing your Jackie Mason imitation.
Oh, sorry about that. And but they do have like interesting little cutaways, to different parts of the country where that may have just had a raging storm, and they'll interview a few people, and or where it's been a particularly sunny day, they'll interview some people, or where it's been particularly rainy, they'll interview some damp people.
That's right, some people standing there with their hair dripping.
But, look at rain, yes.
Yeah. But when they show films like of heavy winds,
that was shot in 1972.
That's right. It could have been shot anywhere. You don't know that it's shot where they're talking about. That's probably stock films. They say, here it is. Look at the way it's raining there in Duluth, Minnesota. That could have been filmed in anywhere.
Well, what I understand, the Weather Channel has a whole room full of all kind of little miniature settings of anything. Let's get a tropical setting in here. It could be Florida, could be Hawaii, could be Haiti. We don't know. But they turn the fan on, throw some water, and there's a raging storm in a tropical land. Otherwise, they put some buildings at the city.
Okay, we're looking for a film that shows snow up to our pipics. Pipic incidentally is a weather term for belly button. Yeah. So you look into the drawer where the film is on snow up to your pipics, and you show that, and you say, this is the way it is in northern Wisconsin. Nobody has to know that you're lying, and that's stock film. Why do you have to go and send people out into this terrible weather or nice weather and keep doing the same films over and over again?
Well, you see, that's the beauty behind the Weather Channel. It's low overhead. They've just done all this weather film from the whole century, since the history of cameras. They've got weather pictures, and they just keep showing them over and over again.
The crazy thing is, I know people who watch that constantly, and are just intrigued. I would not trust them to vote. I think the vote ought to be taken away from anybody who watches that kind of stuff for any longer than about a minute or two. Well, I don't think they're capable of anything that requires intelligence.
You see, the problem with the Weather Channel is that you turn it on, no matter what time you turn it on, they're always talking about the other part of the country. So you have to stay and watch. But what they do is they keep giving you teasers. And what are teasers meant to do? To keep you watching. So, you turn on the thing, and the thing's usually starting in Hawaii. And so if you want to find out what's going to go on in your house, whether you can have a picnic tomorrow or not, you have to sit there and watch. And every couple of minutes they'll say, upcoming, Massachusetts. And so that's why people watch all day.
I didn't know that.
You see, and then they move from Massachusetts, they get into Europe. Czechoslovakian weather. Take a look.
One of my favorite comics is a guy named Richard Jeni, who I've talked about. Well, Jeni is his last name. I love to spell names and things. It's like I'm doing romper room. Anyway, but he's a very funny guy. And I watched him on HBO one night. He had an hour special, and he was doing his takeoff on these weather people, and can't throw in the obscenities he used. But it fit, and it wasn't vulgar at all. And I saw him recently at the Comedy Connection. He's a very funny man. Richard Jeni, if you ever get a chance to see him, please do.
Kind of talk. I did it when I was. Does he sort of have kind of a gruff voice?
No, I'd noticed that. No, I don't think so. No, because everybody in my family has a gruff voice, so I probably didn't notice. But he's got a weather map out there, and he said, here's a... First of all, I tell you a high-pressure map out God knows where out here in some place you don't care about. Only he throws in a few obscenities, which makes it even funnier. And that's going to move across here and move out to here, which you care even less about. And he's going on like that. And the thing that makes it funny is it's really quite true.
Oh, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, weather should be a 10-second deal. It's cold today. It's going to be colder tomorrow, the day after. Maybe a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. And that's it. Who cares about what's going on in Saskatchewan? Not important.
You know what's happened? Mike Epstein, who's always on the stick, has called the Weather Channel. He said, what? No, he's got a phone number for the Weather Channel. This is the TV Weather Channel? Okay. You want to hang on the line there and you talk with him along with me, unless you're very busy watching.
No, I'm just, okay,
because I know you got to keep a track of the work crews.
There is a traffic front coming up the expressway northbound, but it's predictable.
Okay. Mike is punching up the number right at this moment. The Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel.
Yeah, the Weather Channel. See if they're sympathetic with what we're saying. What we'll be saying, of course, is why do you need to be on the air 24 hours a day with all that boring stuff? They may not be too terribly sympathetic to that approach, but if they've got a sense of humor, what the heck?
Now, if it was the horoscope channel or something like that, then that would apply to me all day.
Well, you could have the psychic channel, 50 cents per call, please, for the first 12 seconds. After that, it rises. Okay, he's doing something there. I don't quite know what's going on, but we'll see if we can't talk with see what the. Oh, it's a recording. Oh, what does it say? Can you put the recording on? We'll see if we can get the recording on. As we know. No, we can. Apparently, cannot get the recording on. Well, this turned out to be a real bust, didn't it? If you pardon the expression. Okay, he's going to call back, and we'll at least get the recording. Now, there's one woman who I covet. She stands in front of the weather map, and I don't even care to see the weather map. She is so darn adorable. And I was thinking of proposing marriage to her in kind of a meteorological way.
30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. For local, long distance, or international weather information, you may dial 1-900-WEATHER. The charge for this call is 95 cents a minute. For the Weather Channel website, our address is http://www.weather.com. For the Weather Channel online CompuServe, our address is GoTWC Forum. Again, thank you for calling the Weather Channel.
I think she does mostly addresses.
Yeah, that's mostly addresses. I love those computer numbers, where you write the --6932. Up your tushy 753 .tookus .com. I don't understand any of that kind of business. You know what? I think I should have probably died about 20 years ago. I don't fit into the current society, not at all.
Well, I was looking at an ad for a big computer store in the Sunday paper, and I thought that because I'm thinking that maybe it would be well for me to have some modern age stuff, sort of put the Victrola away and things, and get myself a computer. And so I'm looking at the software section, saying all the stuff that you can have that you can do on the computer. And so I'm thinking that I'm going to see big things: how to take care of bills, how to take care of money, how to find places and diagnose medical problems. It's mostly games.
Oh yeah, no, actually, internet I guess covers. I don't mean to get too serious on you and spoil your whole shtick here, Jack. But apparently they you can get magazines, all kinds of features and things that have come across the internet. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know how to get them, but friends of mine who are pretty sharp about that kind of stuff. They have these computers and they get all kinds of things. I had somebody look up a proverb for me, and plugging into his computer, he found out probably about 15 different sources of where the proverbs come from. You can get a tremendous amount of information, so I don't want to knock them on that basis. Hold on. The very lovely, my beautiful assistant, Mike Epstein.
Thank you. Just that aren't much.
Okay. Did you want to defend the computers?
No, well, the one thing about computers and the internet in general, the internet is a wonderful way to get information. Like you were just saying, you can look up anything that was ever invented and even hasn't been invented yet. It's out there on the web, and you can type your addresses and find whatever you got to find.
You know what I wondered about, though? Well, how does anybody make any money out of it? Because this is free, is it not?
It's, well, some of it's free, some of it isn't.
Do you think eventually you'll have, once everybody gets used to it and everything, they'll then put number figures on all these things? So you'll have to
absolutely.
Start charging you for them, yeah.
Okay. Well, like the service that I'm on, I use one of the larger subscriber services, America Online, and they charge me a certain amount, a flat rate a month, and then they charge per hour. Or I'm on a plan where I pay X amount for like 20 hours, and then a certain amount more for everything over that.
Now, what would you do for 20 hours on the internet a month?
A lot of what you do, a lot of what I end up doing is just sitting in the chat rooms talking to people about stupid stuff, which is generally what the internet was not meant to be, but what it's really degraded itself into for a lot of people. But besides that, though, seriously, I look up stuff like news stuff because I work the hours that I do. By the time I wake up at night, the news is generally over. Unless I want to sit through the radio news and get everything in half an hour, which I usually don't. I can look up right on the web, as they say. I can find anything. I'm connected to Reuters, ABC, CNN on the services that I have. I can look up from different newspapers around the world, which is a beautiful thing.
But is that as satisfying as sitting down with a newspaper and a cup of coffee and a pastry and putting your feet back?
Believe me, I'm not saying it's a perfect thing. And sitting in front of a terminal all day, if that's what some people do, which I have friends of mine that's all they do, I'm sure it can be very straining on the eyes and very, it's just like sitting in front of a television all day.
But don't you think that it's going to make the world lonely? Don't you think that
it absolutely
you sit with the newspaper and you discuss it?
Maybe one day I will. I'm sitting in front of a camera, and I just, even when I was younger.
Boyish grin?
He had boyish grin and the crooked smile and the body of well-tempered steel, slim of waist and broad of shoulders. The more I paint the picture of myself, the more I
need to have one.
Yeah, and I gotta take a picture. If I really look like that, I'm gonna take a picture.
You really should take it, because I know I'm not the only one that wants one.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
I'd appreciate it.
Okay, Suzanne, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye. On Friday night, we're going to be playing the Swell Music Quiz. Where you have a chance to win one of the badly spelled diplomas that we have with the really dumb humor on it and badly printed. But if you stop us, and we have various categories of music, you can either pick rock and roll or you can pick not classical music, we haven't done that, but musical comedy or jazz or big band or that kind of stuff. So that's coming up on Friday. I'm sorry to be so totally disorganized, but we have a whole lot of other people between now and then who we'll be talking with. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Hey. Ooh. Okay, let me see. Who'll be talking with, for example, this coming night. We'll be talking with, the program suddenly is ground to a halt, isn't it? John Kremer, who's the author of a book called Celebrate Today. It's a day-by-day listing of more than 4,000 holidays, celebrations, anniversaries, and their origins. So the idea is when you look through the book, you can find a reason to take off from work every single day, or at least to have a party. That'll be this coming night, Wednesday night. I lose track of days. And then the day after that, Paul Lowry and Brett Nicholas, co-authors of the conversation piece, Creative Questions to Tickle the Mind. For example, have you ever sat around at a party and you've been bored silly with the idle chat or the lack of idle chat? The book provides over 300 intriguing questions to jumpstart any conversation. You're probably saying, will you give us an example of that, Norm? Don't just tease us with that kind of a thing. If you could have anything in the world completely to yourself for one day, any object or place, what would you choose? And we'll ask that of the audience. It'd be kind of fun.
Absolutely sounds like it was going to be a great week of fun and guests. Gee, who booked those shows? Yet another successful withdrawal from the vault of silliness. There are many that are safely lining the deposit boxes throughout. Not all are Norm, by the way. There are Steve Lavelli broadcasts, and some other programs from other stations other than WBZ. For example, in a recent archaeological excursion, I've unearthed some cassettes from the old WCOZ days. Great examples of waiting by the radio to hit record to catch my favorite songs. And if I can find them, I am toying with the idea of sharing some college radio day broadcasts. I recall thinking they were quite hilarious, and they still could be, for other reasons, especially the heavy Boston accent. Before we lock up for the night, thanks for all those who checked out my very rudimentary YouTube short. I've been wanting to start that process, and for now, that's what they're going to look and sound like. Closing the vault and leaving this world a little sillier than we found it. 4. Genetic defects. Fat for generations. Internet traffic reports. Others with systems of their own. Ham radio operators. Old man's paradise. YLs, which by the way stands for young ladies. Radio Shack. Chat rooms. Bonbons. The World Wide Web. Horse saddle buckles, cinches, and girths. Cowboys and Indians. Mexican escapes. Museum parking rate gouging. Bitterness. The Rock and Roll Hall of Shame. Fame. Jerry Williams. Town Lakes. Silly Gooses. I was thinking of saying something else, but I thought I'd keep it clean. Nick Bertozzi and Murphy the Mastiff from Foxborough, Mass. Not wanting to get up off the couch to change the batteries in your dead clicker. The 11 o'clock news repeats. Joe Stapleton, chauffeurs, driving at night. That terrible Norm joke. Job curiosity, traffic light installers, unyielding yields. Rotaries, peanuts and Cracker Jack. Child walking services. Work crews, only times, all the time with Johnny Minute. Weather Channel addicts, damp people. Stock footage, snow up to your pippix. Richard Jenny, Romper Room, 1-900 Weather at 95 cents a minute. CompuServe, Proverb Sources, AOL, Reaching for Show Notes, Grinding to a Halt, Mike Epstein and his TV repair side business, the Professor of Traffic Jack Harte, and the genetically cursed, Grandpa Gruff Voice, Old Fast Thumbs himself, Norm Nathan. I'm Tony Nesbitt.
Hey, I'll talk to you after 3, big guy.
You betcha.
It's another big night of the dumb birthday cake.
Woohoo!